He's just chilling. Anyways, hello, this is gonna be my kind of guide, whatever, on the raid seal, or I believe it's called Seal of the Devastator. Now it looks like this, and that's all cool and stuff. So let's go ahead and let's first go through the crafting recipe. There are multiple ways to get it. You can get it from the F7 shop through soul shards. You can get it through goblins if you're lucky enough, and you can get it in treasure rooms, and you can craft it. To the extent of my knowledge, those are the... Is he inside the portal? Okay, those are the only ways to acquire the Seal of the Architect. That's it. Not Seal of the Architect, I'm sorry. Well, I guess those rules do apply to the other seals as well. But regardless, this is how you craft it. In case you're wondering, you can see this. It is reflected in JEI. It takes 4 Painite, an infused Eternal Soul, 2 skill shards, a crystal, and a regular netherite sword. I don't know if enchanted ones would work, but you know. So you go here and you can see that, yep, this is how it's crafted. And in the same exact principle, the Architect Seal, you can just use this on a crystal and it'll turn it into a raid vault, basically. Now, there are a couple things that need to be mentioned about raid vaults. Let's first go to the first one. Let's see. Pouch. There it is. Okay, soul shards. There is an extremely high density of soul shards within the vault. There is an extremely high density of mobs within the vault. And in theory, this would make a really, really good soul shard farm. Except 0 soul shards drop because, obvious reasons. I believe, and this is my genuine opinion, that if soul shards dropped inside this vault, there probably really wouldn't be much reason to do the other vaults. Because, I mean, soul shards are already powerful enough. You can get a wide variety of things, including, I mean, you can pretty much get everything useful in there. You can get ecopogs, you can get pogs, you can get various volt fruit, volt diamonds, all types of stuff. Regardless, the other thing, and I'm just going to go ahead and grab this. Oh, I don't have an anvil out. I actually did. I just broke it earlier. See, this is how you go ahead and just place that in there, and you see the objective turns into a raid. Let's see. The other thing is I'm going to have this other crystal out here as an example. As you see, if I put this crystal in here, it has various modifiers. There's this easy catalyst, random positive, and super healing difficult, whatever. Now, if you're wondering what these might roll on the raid, you wouldn't be able to figure out because it rolls absolutely nothing on the raid. You cannot use catalyst on the raid crystal. Say that 3 times in your head. You cannot use catalyst on the raid crystal. That is why 100 out of 100 times I would recommend that you soul flame this. Just make it a habit. Various things can happen for you to die within this vault. And you just, obviously, you don't want to die. There's no downside in soul flaming other than the extremely cheap resources that comes with soul flaming. I mean, by the time that you're going to be having access to this vault, you would have already run, I don't know, maybe 50 volts, possibly more. I'm just lowballing that shit. But you would have run enough volts to have found a decent amount of wither skulls. So just go ahead and soul flame it. Always, always soul flame it. I have never not soul flamed a raid crystal. Let's see, what else? Now, there are a couple things that you want to take into the vault in particular. Ignore that. So you obviously want to take whatever weapons and whatever armor you want to go inside the vault with. Something that I'd recommend in particular is taking a pickering. And I will show you why in a second. But just like in the Architect vaults, there are things that spawn in the sky whenever you are looting. It is difficult to acquire these things other than using a pickering. You could use dash, you could use elytra, you could use reptile trident. Pickering is probably the easiest way though. Pick your poison. I'd suggest pickering. It's the fastest, it's the easiest. I'm gonna go ahead and just grab all this and put it on. Oh, these boots have speed. That's kind of funny. Alright, so now that I've covered that, there is another thing that goes on inside this crystal. There are no boss fights whatsoever. This is a vault that you must exit. so you have to keep track of where you came from or where you went. What I do is I just use a marker and I make sure to place blocks behind me. In this instance, I'll just grab some. Here, let's just grab some blue stuff. Since I'm in creative, it doesn't really matter. I'm not going into here with the gear that I would usually have upon going to this vault. But if you watch a video tomorrow that will be releasing, or maybe later today, I can't quite remember, you will have much more stuff, or you would have much more stuff, including like food, regen, potions, whatever. Just whatever you take into a regular vault, especially in relation to combat, such as potions, regen, or food, stuff like that. Just go ahead and take like double or so. I have had instances of in raid vaults of using up to 30 potions of healing too. It happens. So let's go ahead and let's open up this, and I'll just put this in my inventory for now. And let me go ahead and just grab a dank 7 just to keep my inventory clean. Alright, now that we're in here, we seem to have gotten unlucky. Now, I will mention that I'm doing this now, survival. I am doing this on a level 50. I'm doing this for a very specific reason. That is because I genuinely do not think that, that sucks. I genuinely do not think that you will ever be doing this raid before the level 50s area. At least, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, but it's not necessarily a bad thing either. It is resource intensive. It is hard to get skill shards early on. Crystals are generally expensive. Ancient souls, just generally speaking, ancient souls are annoying because you have to actually create an ancient and then kill bosses to acquire ancient souls. And Volt diamonds, everything involved in the crafting recipe is very annoying. Now, let's go ahead and let's talk about a few things in this room. So, you obviously spawn in the spawner and you go immediately into this Colosseum-like room. Every single room, except for the hallways, are exactly identical. Every single room will look like this. I don't know about the sand pattern. I hardly think that matters. You will have these Colosseum-like things, and up here, and one of the oh, here, let me just actually go back into creative. Every single one of these areas will have a cake, and this will give you 2 extra hearts, and you can just always eat one of those. Now, you can see right here that there is a thing inside of the room. You also would have noticed that the timer hasn't started yet. You would notice that there's this thing inside the room, and you have to click it to make the timer start moving. And this is when the modifier fast applies. And speaking of the modifier fast, you might be wondering about how earlier I stated that you can't use catalyst. Well, there's a very specific reason for that. There are only 2 types of modifiers that are allowed to be used on this vault: time modifiers and durability modifiers. I was unfortunately not able to show you a durability modifiers like this time. However, there are only about 6 that I can think of, so you don't really have to worry about it. And at level 50, I think you can only get like 1 or 2 durability modifiers. On the positive side, you have, I believe it's called resistant, reinforced, and indestructible. They're being at their respective 30, 60, and minus 100%. And then you have frail, fragile, and destructive. And that is that's plus 500, 100, and 200% durability damage. You don't have to really worry about fragile or destructive until like late game, so I mean, don't really worry about it. But indestructible, I think that you can get that as a tier 1 modifier. However, I may be wrong. Do not take my word for that. It's just what I remember off the top of my head. Anyways, let's go ahead and get started on this. So you can see that at the top, you can see this bar right up here. And it's counting down, and it has 0 out of 3. That is the implied, that is the waves. Okay, this is a very unique wave. So I'm just going to go ahead and kill them while this happens. Hello? Hello? Oh, okay. Can I not? Oh, I forgot to level down this sword. That's embarrassing. Okay, So, there are different types of waves, and there are multiple different type of modifiers. This is a very unique wave. I call it a critter wave, and basically what it is, it's a bunch of bunnies and it's a bunch of pigs, and you have to just kill them all. You don't get anything but experience, and this is what I consider to be a free wave, since these are extremely low health, and they don't do any damage to you, so it's like kind of good, actually. Oh, there's one. You do have to worry about the bunnies. They do run away from you. I'm just in creative. Alright, so... Oh, another thing to note. While the wave is actively going, you cannot mine inside of this room. You cannot place either. You cannot throw ender pearls. You cannot open advanced choker boxes. You can open danks, though. It's just you want to get to a safe place while you do that. If you want to open up or place down anything, you must do it in a hallway area or in a room in which the wave has already been fully beaten. Regardless, now that I finished up that wave, let's go ahead and look at the top and what it says now. It says it's reflected that I have completed one raid, as I just did, and it's added a positive and a negative modifier. It always says the positive and negative right above here. It says I've gotten one set of ores and increased all mob health by 19%. Now, I would consider this to be not amazing as far as trade-offs go. It's just, one ore isn't necessarily amazing. But 19 mob health, or 19% increased mob health ain't necessarily that bad. Now, something like this is, in the words of wise men, incredible dog shit. This increases the amount of monsters by 13%. Now, that in itself is not that bad. But in any case of Vault Hunters, if you're ever low on diamonds, I mean, you could take this if you want, but also you're wasting your time, because how are you low on diamonds in Vault Hunters? I mean, unless you're late game and you're crafting Vault stuff, but like, even then. Anyways, what Diamond Mine is, it spawns a bunch of diamond ore on the ground and you can mine them. I would probably recommend not taking that. There are two different types of loot inside of the vault. And normally I wouldn't be like looting like this, obviously. Or like going around the rooms like this, because obviously I'm in creative mode and I'm explaining stuff, but anyways, regardless, there are two types of loot in this particular vault. There is ground loot and there is air loot. Now, in my mind, I have it ingrained that air loot is about 30 times better. Because I think it generally is. That one back there was common gems. I'm just going to check what this one is, because I do want to get through a couple waves. Actually. And then this. Can you not do this inside the vault? That's a neat trick. Okay. I'll just use one of these. And then, I believe... Yep. Close enough. Alright, and this one is Vault Boxes. Okay, wow. And that's a good modifier. I'll go ahead and explain that real quick. Air loot is really good because you have precise loot. That's what I'll call it. Stuff like Vault Boxes, common gems, as we saw back in that room, are air loot. Anything that has this type of name, I would say. If it says blocks or chest, it spawns on the ground. However, if it has anything else, it spawns in the air. You get a very specific set of loot from the air spawning shit. I would recommend taking air spawning stuff because you can stack the picking up of air spawning stuff. Oh. That's weird. Anyways, so this time we can actually see a combat wave. We have some skeletons, some creepers, like spiders and vault fighters. And what you want to do to complete the wave is you just gotta kill them all. There you go. Let me go ahead and let me just murder all these guys. What I normally have to kill these are Eternals. And Eternals really do help. Like, on the server I'm currently playing on, I'm level 150. And if I time it correctly, I can summon, I want to say 150, not 100, Jesus. I can summon 10 to 15 Eternals at a time, which is like really strong. It's basically your own army. Now as far as raid volts go, this would be the easiest because I'm in creative mode. But in like actual circumstances, this one ain't too bad. You have some Volt Fighters, you have zombie skeletons, and it's just a mix of all the shit that you'd regularly find in a Volt. I would say that, yeah, it's in terms of difficulty, it's not as like difficult as like Volt Fighters. It's not as difficult as like Silverfish, stuff like that. Alright, now you can see up here I have 2 waves completed, and it increased the mob damage by 6%, which isn't that high, but you do want to keep track of that number. Anyways, you can see up here that there's mystery boxes, there's mod boxes, and there's Pandora's boxes. Now, if you've played Vault Hunters, oh, and additionally, you can see that there's ores still on the ground. That's because every single loot stacks. Actually, it's very, very useful. Now, I would say that Vault Boxes is one of my favorite, especially early on, because mod boxes are generally really good for just gathering mod stuff. And you can see with the Pickering, I'm able to pick up stuff from really far away really fast. And now I'm done picking up stuff. Let's go ahead and check out the other rooms. So in here we have, let's see, another set of ores with 16% increased mob health. I will not be taking that because I value ores lower than most sky stuff. At least I would at this level. Another set of ores for increased mob level, but only by 3, which isn't too bad. Let's see, and in here, rare gems. Oh, okay, this is a good one. Okay, so rare gems spawns for increased mob damage by 9. That's unfortunate, but rare gems is really good. This was something that also spawns in the air. It spawns Painite, Black Opal. Is this a spider wave? It is a spider wave. That's terrifying. I just call this wave arachnophobia, and if you've played Vault Hunters for a little while, and you know the fear of spiders, it's because they have lots of health. You're more often than not using Bane of Arthropods in a Volt, and they're fast, they can be hard to hit, and they can have potion effects on top of their regular boosted HP and armor. Let's go ahead and just grab the cake for funsies. I'm so happy that I'm in creative mode in this instance because it's just better than having to deal with these guys actually. And raid volts, you guys are particularly nasty because they can, if you aren't paying attention to the amount of damage you're taking, they can very easily get the upper hand on you. The same could be said about Volt Fighters and even Skeletons. Let's see, what's next? I'd say more spiders, probably. Oh, and a spider dropping food, what do you know? Oh, I don't have any Eternals, but I took some in Eternal, I just realized that's kind of goofy. There are many different types of waves. I know that thus far you've only seen 0 out of 3. There are 0 out of 4, 0 out of 2, and 0 out of 1. 0 out of 1 is incredibly rare, and I think that out of all the raid volts I've done, I've only seen 0 out of 1 a total of 4 times. Which is, you know, not a lot, compared to the amount that I've actually done. So you can see there's Wounded Eye, Painite, and Black Opal. I don't see any, so there's no Black Opal this time, that's unfortunate. Oh, I forgot I was in creative mode. But you can see I can grab this with my person, or I can use a pick ring. I prefer using the pick ring because I don't have creative flight on survival. At least, you know, not yet. Okay, I came from there. You can see that that room's blocked off, and that's likely because it's just blocked off. You just have to accept it, you know? No, I believe the raid volts actually have a shape, and that's why it's blocked off. Okay, so you can see here that the monster amount can increase for compressed blocks. I don't particularly like compressed blocks. I think it is a waste, so I will not be taking that. There was actually a Larimar there. How useful. Gilded Chest. Okay, that's cool. So you can see that you can get Gilded Chest, and that one increases mob health by 19%. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go back 1 time and 2 times. So you can see that I know where to go based off of my thing. I think if I go back 1 more time, and I go across fully, into here you have common gems. Okay, cool. And the amount of monsters by 17% ain't necessarily bad for common gems. This contains Alexandra. 3 out of 3 again, damn. It contains Alexandrite, Larimar, and Benny, which is super useful, and at least in my opinion. So let me go ahead and let me just do this wave super quick. This one is just what you would typically see. I think it's the most common type of wave. There are extremely rare types of waves and less common types of waves. I would say that the 0 out of 1 is the rarest, at least easily. 0 out of 2 comes next. I think 0 out of 3 is the most common, and then 0 out of 4 is right next to the most common. But the 0 out of 1 ones are exceptionally important because before level 100, 0 out of 1s essentially means that you would fight exactly 1 wither skeleton. I don't really know why they made that choice, but it is what it is. You fight a wither skeleton, it's not necessarily that bad. After level 100, however, that's when shit gets real. After level 100, you'd be fighting loot goblins instead. Oh, there's a black opal. Oh, there's another one. Now, loot goblins, it can make or break a vault, because you just get so much shit from loot goblins. So you have to be particularly careful about how you handle those. How I do it is I just let my Eternals loose and I go up, and they just kill them. Let's see. Diamond Mine. I hate Diamond Mine, so I'm not going to take it unless I absolutely need to. Over here we have Netherite Block. That's kind of funny. Not necessarily useful for me at the moment. And then back here, Diamond Mine again. So it looks like I'm going to go ahead and take Netherite Block, since I'm not particularly worried about the downside. It's still early on, so let's see, it's just 19% increased amount of monsters. You should expect that the amount of monsters and the monster health might increase a little bit more than you want to. But it's, you know, for the sake of loot. So there's an Iscam trader, and I missed him like 14 times. I say trader. So you can see that this is a 0 out of 4 wave. I don't know, they're annoying. They're not necessarily the most difficult, but it's like it takes so much time, and time is such an important factor in these vaults because you can only exit. It's not like a build vault. It's more akin to an ancient vault, to where you have to exit. There's no necessary goal. Just acquire loot. On an additional note, I should talk about why air is better than ground stuff. Now, air, it is the loot is extremely precise when it comes to the air stuff. You get exactly what you're told. So far, I've gotten rare gems, I've gotten common gems, and I've gotten vault boxes. Vault boxes being the Pandora's boxes, mod boxes, and mystery boxes. I've gotten exactly what I was told I was going to get. Another thing is that the reason why I don't like ground loot is because since you can't get any luck modifiers and stuff like that, it makes getting chest, which is the primary ground loot, it makes getting chest unsavorable compared to, well, the sky loot, which can't be trapped, doesn't necessarily require luck, you know, stuff like that. And I think that it's also slightly easier to loot the air stuff, especially with the Pickering, because if you throw a Pickering in a direction and the sky is full, you can pick up everything in that direction. And if you're quick about it, you can loot rooms very quickly. You just have to get the right angles and such. You You can also fill the entire sky up to the point where your computer is struggling. Now, I have a very good computer, so I haven't necessarily reached this point. I have seen FPS drops, though, if that means anything whatsoever. And you can see right there, there's the netherite block. So let's see what else we got. Bolt boxes. I'll probably be taking that, even though it's increased damage taken. It's only by 6%, so it's barely noticeable. And now, go ahead and break that. Diamond mine. Yep, I think volt boxes is the best pick here, very easily. Although we do barely have any time left. So I'm going to go ahead and just exit the vault. Let's see. Oh, this way. And here's the vault exit. Now, you could mark it, which you can just put it like exit, or you could press the waypoint button. Regardless, it's just whatever floats your boat. And you can see that it says that I bailed, and then you have all the various loot in here. So you can see I got some Pandora's boxes, mod boxes, and various gems. And I wasn't in there for too long. I didn't pick up any of the ores, just because I didn't really see anything that I particularly cared about. And, you know, other stuff. So, let's talk about a couple more things before I go ahead and leave you for today. I'd say that this could be a good vault, but the loot can screw you over, or at least the rooms can screw you over. The first 2 rooms are extremely important, because, well, they can set the tone for the rest of the vault, basically. If you get something like I just did, it wasn't necessarily great. It was just one set of ores, and it was a ground thing. And that can mean many things. That can mean echo gems, or it could mean, like, emeralds. And it's like, obviously you want something good, but you're not necessarily going to get it. There's no confirmation of loot. The sky stuff does give you that comfort. You can get Wutax shards, Wutax gems, or not necessarily Wutax gems, but you can get Wutax waves, basically, which is Wutax shards and Wutax crystals. It is one of my favorites. That's how I have all of the Wutax that I would have. You could get later levels, tier 2 loot, which is level 100 plus. I'm not necessarily sure if that's called tier 2, but you get my drift. Level 100 plus loot table. You can get stuff like artisan scrolls. You can get stuff like key pieces, which I've only seen like 2 or 3 times. It's so rare, but it's so awesome once you get it. It's various stuff like that. Another con I would say is that the mobs become extremely difficult. At the later waves, like once you complete 7, 8, or 9 of the raids, you can become in danger. And I have lost many a good totem just on the basis of killing myself on accident. I don't think I've died in a raid vault, not in a very long time. Or maybe not at all. I can't remember any time in which I've died. Regardless. I believe that pretty much covers it. I told you about the crafting recipes and how to acquire it. I ran through a basic introduction of the vault. In case you didn't gather, I am going to say at this part of the video, the goal of the vault is to kill fucking everything and then loot like crazy. That's why there's no soul shard farming, because fucking obviously. But, you know, yeah, there's no soul shards. Don't take your soul pouch in there unless you don't really care or you forgot you had it in your inventory, which I often do. Anyways, later I am going to be releasing an uncut version of just an entire raid vault that I done. I did that on stream, so you'll be able to see that. Or maybe I didn't do it on stream, I can't quite remember. Anyways, thank you and have a wonderful day, and I don't know, subscribe or something if you want to see more.